Hello, I'm Rory Weeks.
I'm Dan Jackman.
We are the Kentuckiana Fly Tyers. Tonight we're going to tie a sparkle dun, basically a dry fly. This was invented by Craig Matthews from out in West Yellowstone, Montana. He designed it to be a simple tie of a really good dry fly that sits down flush into the water. He made himself famous with this. One of the materials that we're going to use is Z-lon. That's what we use for the tail. He invented the material. I know at one point he was the only supplier of that in the whole world. If you wanted Z-lon, you got it from Mr. Matthews. You might have had Cabela's name on it, but it all came from the same shop, and they dye it in every color you can think of in the whole world to match anything. And if they don't have it, they'll match it the way you want it. So if you've never been to West Yellowstone, if it's a fly tying and fly fishing town, they got 4 really world-class fly shops. It's worth visiting just for that purpose, as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to tie a sparkle dun, a dry fly. This is tied on just a standard dry fly hook. This is a TMC 100. I tie them on 94/84s and whatever. It doesn't need an extended hook. This is just a basic hook. It's a light wire hook. I'm tying it with 6/0 thread. Yellow or gold. We're going to tie it in a compare dun. No, this is a compare dun. I'm sorry. Tied in a compare dun color. Pale morning dun. I'm not going to go all the way to the back at this point. No. Make a layer of thread. Go back to about, I call it going back to the 1/3 point in the front. I notice a lot of fly tyers call that the 2/3 point. They start from the back. I don't really understand how that works, but that's the way they do it. The wing, we're going to tie the wing in first. This is a deer hair. This is a short, coarse type of, and you notice on the package it actually says what it's for. It's a sparkle dun. It's a compare dun type of fly. This is the kind of material you need. If you can look at these things really closely, don't have the detail to do it here. The tips of these things are black. They've got a little tiny black tip, and that's the way you supposedly can tell the fly, the type of hair that you need for this fly. We're not going to tie a great big clump of it. Cut it out of there. I'm going to comb some of that loose fur that's in the bottom of it. I'm going to put it in my small stacker. You might can see those little black tips now. I want the hair to be about as long as the shank. I'm measuring it to the shank. Is there any odd, looks like a little odd long ones in there. Somehow, occasionally, you'll get one of these things that comes in there upside down. You'll see a square stemmed hair in there. I don't really know how it does that. You want to get that out too. You don't want that in your wing. I've got the thread at the 1/3 back point. Got it measured. I'm going to counter spin my thread. I'm going to go over it twice loosely. my wing down. I still haven't let go of the back. I'm going to cut it off as close as I can on the floor. Keep my thread right up behind the front of the tie. I'm going to pull all that hair up and then go in front of it and build a bit of a dam. Don't let it get away from me. Now I've tied it front and back. I'm going to get as much of this extra hair off of here as I can. We don't really tie this with a tapered body like we do on so many of the upright wing flies. That thread up on top. Go back behind the wing. I'm going to tie what I do have back there tied down now. The tail is made out of some of Mr. Matthews' Z-lon. And it's the pale morning dun type of tail. Can you see what I'm doing? Tying it, cutting it off in the front. And you're going to continually have loose hairs hanging around and this sort of thing. Now we're going to dub the body. We're going to use Superfine. Because this is waterproof dry fly dubbing. I really like to use a lot of Superfine. It's easy to put it on the thread. It ties really easier than a lot of the other dubbings. Plus it has always been treated to make it more waterproof. So the fly will float a little longer. Here we are back dubbing thread again. Which makes it kind of a quiet tie, unfortunately. I don't have anything brilliant to say. Just keep dubbing, Roy. Take the dubbing right up to the back, a little more. I'm going to dove it up behind the wing, but I'm not going to fit it really tight to the wing yet. So I'm going to bring it to the front. I'm gonna tighten the front. Now I'm gonna go back behind it, right in close behind the wing. And come back to the front. And try and keep my wing out of it. And tie it off. Got a few wavered fibers on the bottom. I'm going to cut the tail off about half the body length. And just kind of rough it up a little bit. It looks more like it's coming out of a shuck than a real tail. Put a little on the whip finish on the front. I usually put just a little bit on the front of the deer hair. In the middle, not all over it. We're not trying to make it really stiff, because it's generally going to stay in that little fan. And there you have the sparkle done, and the pale morning done. Time as green one like we've got here. It's an olive, and I guess you could probably tie one as a royal wolf colored body if you wanted to, but it's just be an attractor. But generally you're going to see them in this color, in the green. You'll see them with brown bodies. I've even seen them tied in a pure white body, but I don't see that fly on the water very often. Just you can match the hatch, and it sits down low and in the surface. It's really attractive.
Good looking fly.
Mr. Matthews made himself famous tying that fly right there.
Thank you for joining us tonight. That's a good looking fly. I'd like to try it. We also like to invite you out to Orvis, the Paddocks, on the second Thursday of the month at 6 o'clock in the evening. And at that time we will provide fly tying classes for anybody who's interested. We'll provide the tools, the equipment, and the materials needed, and we will attempt to tie flies that you would like to fish with. If you got any questions, you can email us at KentuckianaFlyTyers@gmail.com.
Thank you.